So welcome back, friends. It's Megan from A Seasonal Abode. It's the beginning of October here in Southern Ontario, Canada. I'm gardening here in Zone 6A, used to be Zone 5B. We still have not had our first frost. Our first expected frost date is October 5. So this week I thought it would be fun to just take you along, show you little snippets of, there's a lot of clearance sales going on at the local nurseries. And now is the perfect time for some fall planting. So I'm going to be sharing with you some of the plants and the perennials, the shrubs, and actually a tree that I picked up that I hope to add into my gardens this fall. I am adding on to my sunrise garden because once you fill your gardens up, there's only so much room for the plants. So I'm going to be doing that using the no-dig method. I'm going to show you that. And also this summer, I tried for the first time cover cropping. So I need to terminate my cover crop, and I'm going to be taking you along for that. So I hope you enjoy this video, friends, and that you'll consider subscribing. Now let's get to the garden. So now is the perfect time of year to head to your local nursery and pick up perennials, shrubs, trees. They are on sale. I got a bunch of trees and shrubs today, 40% off. This first one here is the Winecraft Gold Smoke Bush. Right now it's looking a little bit spent, but the leaves are beautiful chartreuse color, and I'm excited to add this into my gardens. The next shrub that I picked up today is another proven winners, and it is the Kodiak Black Durvilla, which is deer resistant and has some beautiful fall interest. Similar to a burning bush, but it is native. So the next plant that I picked up this morning at the nursery is the Prairie Winds Apache Rose Perennial Panicum Ornamental Grass. So it's in the same line as the Cheyenne Sky. This gets more of a pinky hue, and I am excited to add this into my sunrise garden. So the last thing that I picked up at the nursery this morning is an evergreen, and it's a tree, also 40% off. I have been looking at the Weeping White Spruce, at purchasing one of those to put into the sunrise garden. I'd like to expand it. They didn't have one at the nursery, but they had something very similar called the Weeping Blue Nootka False Cypress Tree. And it gets 8 to 12 meters high and 3 to 4 meters wide, and it has a beautiful bluey foliage, year-round interest. So I'm excited to add that into the garden. So I am sitting here on one of my raised beds here in my kitchen garden, and this raised bed here is filled with cover crop. So cover cropping is something I have never done before. I am learning, and if you have any advice that you can share with me, I would welcome it. So I was watching a video earlier this summer from a wild bird farm on YouTube, and she was explaining a little bit more about cover cropping for people who don't know what they're doing, and that's me. So the knowledge that I came away from on that video was that there are two types of cover crops, which I didn't know before. There are the cover crops that you would sow on fallow ground during the growing season. And then the other type of cover crop is a cover crop that you would sow on fallow ground prior to a hard killing frost, so a few weeks before, and you would leave that on your soil throughout the winter months, and then you would terminate it in the spring. So what cover crops do for your soil is that they add in nutrients, nitrogen back into the soil so that when you are ready to plant crops again, your soil will be improved. So I didn't want to overwhelm myself this year, and I thought, I'm not going to try and do both. It was August when I watched this video. I thought, I'm going to try and do the growing season cover crop, the first type. So I went to a local seed store and I picked up some buckwheat seed and I broadcasted it out onto this raised bed here. And I didn't cover it or anything like that or water it. And it came up beautifully. As you can see here, this is the buckwheat cover crop. What you're looking for is you want to just let your buckwheat cover crop grow until it forms flowers, at which time it's time to terminate it. There are many different methods for termination. I don't have a lot of tools, and these are raised beds, so it makes it a little bit difficult to use some of the methods. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be terminating this cover crop with a silage tarp, and I'm going to take you along as I do that. So here is the end of season 1 of this garden we put in together this spring. The little lime punch hydrangea hedge is doing well. This is all rainfall irrigation. I'm hoping someday to add in some drip irrigation. That is Genevieve, by the way. I don't know if I've introduced her on any of my videos, but she is one hyper cat, as you can see. So yesterday I visited my local Home Depot to see if they had any clearance sales. I was looking specifically for proven winners, and I was excited to find these two show-off forsythia plants. So the forsythias are the spring blooming shrubs with the beautiful yellow flowers like this picture here. Now I do have a forsythia growing in my lawn that I used for my cut flower bouquets. That forsythia is an older variety and it flowers beautifully. The difference between that and this show-off variety here is that the show-off variety, the blooms already start at the base of the plant and they go right up all the way to the tip. So it just is a beautiful show in the spring. And so I was excited to find these. They were originally $39.98, marked down to $5.98. So that was a pretty good deal. These shrubs are good from zones 5 to 8. They are deer resistant. And they get about 1.8 meters by 1.8 meters. So they're going to get a good size here. And I'm thinking I'm actually not going to plant them in a garden bed. I'm going to be planting them into my lawn so that I can see them in the spring and use their foliage for my cut flower beds. And I don't have enough room in my flower beds right now to add them into that. So that's why I'm planting them into the landscape.